Hey there, men. Welcome back to the Wolf and Iron Podcast. You're tuning in to a Truck Talk Thursday episode. Glad to be talking to you guys, and happy Truck Talk Thursday to you. Hope you've made some good things happen this week, and if not, there's still some time for that. I want to talk today about moving towards the challenges in life, and particularly the emotional challenges. I think that one of the things that's come to mind for me, one of the things I'm realizing about myself as my wife and I have gone to counselors and done different things over the years, is that there's a sense in me where I'm an introvert by nature, and if I'm sick, leave me alone. I'll just lock me in my room. If I need something, I'll ask for it. I'll probably just get it myself, but just leave me. I don't want attention. I don't want people around. I don't want any of that kind of stuff. I just want to be left alone. Some people are the exact opposite of that. My wife is the opposite of that. She wants attention. She doesn't care if she infects everybody, which is kind of rude, but anyhow. She wants attention, affection. She wants people to bring her soup and make things for her and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I found about myself is that it goes a little bit beyond just a kind of personality and a preferential thing. When my wife is crying, or when my kids are having an issue, or when something's going on, back when I was even as a boss now, but as a lead back in the day for whatever company I worked for, there was a tendency that when stuff was going down, I would just kind of want to back away a little bit. Leave people alone. Leave them to themselves. Let them figure it out on their own. Maybe because that's my personality. Maybe because I don't want to get entangled with their emotional drama. There's probably a lot of it. But I also know that it doesn't really help relationships. And so as I was putting together some thoughts on this Truck Talk Thursday, which means that I thought about it for about 3 minutes before I hit record, I was thinking, how does this impact you guys? Are you even aware of this? Do you do the same thing? I think this is a pretty typical guy thing, actually. And so I think it's something that we all do. And, there are very few guys that would run towards the emotional chaos rather than just kind of back away and say, okay, you guys deal with that. Now, there's some reasons for this, beyond just preferential stuff, beyond just personality things. And a lot of this has to do with our hormonal balance. Hormonal balance, did I say that right? So when guys are, let's see, how do I put this? When we are a little bit detached, when we're a little bit disconnected, our testosterone actually goes up. When we're solving problems on our own, this is one of the things that's very addictive about the lone wolf kind of mentality. When we're kind of making things happen, or at least we think, by our lonesome, our testosterone increases. We feel like we're winning. We can point to ourselves and say, we're the guys who did it. And that winning aspect helps our testosterone increase. Now, it's not good for us to continue doing that, obviously, and there's a number of reasons we may have talked about on this podcast before why that's not good, and you shouldn't go down that path too long. But the opposite happens when we connect. When we connect emotionally with women, especially, our estrogen goes up. Our testosterone actually decreases. Our estrogen goes up. This is part of the nurturing nature of just how our bodies are chemically wired up to do. And, when we're coaching guys and we're trying to connect with players on the field or whatever the case is, we're still fueled by testosterone. It's rub some dirt on it. Hey, suck it up, get it back out there. You got to win the game. There's a bigger purpose at play. And so we're a little bit detached. We're giving feedback and we're connecting, but it's in more of a man-to-man kind of way. When we're doing this with our wives or we're doing this with our kids, it becomes more of a nurturing kind of arrangement. And our testosterone actually goes down and our estrogen goes up. Now, when this happens, guys, we feel stress. We don't like that. And so if we've ever had any experience doing that and we're not comfortable with it, we go, I don't want to feel that way again. I don't like the way it makes me feel all up in my tummy. Manly way of saying that, right? I don't like to feel just this kind of like emotional swirl of nonsense that's happening and this blubbering and all the snot and dealing with the stuff, and I just want to say shut up and just suck it up and life will be okay and look how many good things you got going on in life and whatever the case is. And so we back away. We stay detached, and it's harmful to our relationships. Now, so we got to get in there. We got to get in the game. And the thing is that when we see the challenge, the emotional challenge there, maybe that's something we need to take care of because we're in a leadership position or because somebody needs to be comforted or cared for, we've got to move towards that. And we have to do it with this understanding that when we do that, it will feel uncomfortable and we may be out of our element, but we're going to learn how to do it better over time. And the other thing is that we're winning. And see, this is where the testosterone can actually come into play here. When you begin to see someone who's having a hard time emotionally, they're dealing with stuff. Give you an example. Let's say the kids, they're upset about something. Maybe you got a daughter, maybe you got a son. Doesn't really matter. But the kid's upset about something somebody said to them at school. They've gone past the point of just explaining the narrative and, looking for feedback now. They're crying and they're looking for, sympathy and empathy and all this other kind of stuff. And I've seen guys do this. They'll say, all right, Mom, it's your turn. Head on in there. I'm going to let you take over, right? And it's really tempting to do that. And I'm pretty sure I've done other things, like that similarly as well. But that's not healthy. It's not healthy for our relationship with our kids, and we're missing out on a key aspect of bringing our manhood and our manliness to bear in their lives in a good way. So being able to connect with them on an emotional level and then also show strength in that moment is something that they're probably not going to get maybe from mom in the same way, at least definitely not in the same way they get it from dad. And so we tend to back away from these things where we should be kind of moving towards them. And we want to get better at understanding that when we do move towards them, we accept that challenge. We're going to feel awkward. We're going to feel out of our element. Our stress levels are going to go up. Our heartbeat's actually going to go up. And we're going to feel like we're out of our element and we're not doing a good job here. But here's the thing, guys. The fact that we're there and that we show up, and a lot of times we show up and we shut up, is enough to kind of walk away from that thing a winner. And if you can look at this as something of a game, or at least look at it as being proud of yourself for stepping up to the plate and doing a good job, even when it feels uncomfortable, and your wife appreciates that and your kids appreciate that, and you're doing it a little bit better each time, guys, that's winning. And if we can call that out in our own selves, we don't have to say, I'm a winner, while somebody's crying. I'm winning right now by helping you. That's not good. Don't do that. Although I think it would be funny. If you do it, record it. But anyhow, if you can recognize that in yourself, then guys, you'll have a little bit of estrogen kind of increase. Your testosterone will go down a little bit, but your testosterone is going to quickly recover because you're going to see that as something that you did well. Now, this gets more complicated when you don't actually win. When you try to make that emotional connection like we sometimes do, and we try to provide solutions too quickly, or the person that we're making that emotional connection with is too sensitive to handle our being there, or maybe we're the person who caused the problem in the first place, and so we're taking a lot of flack, we're getting a lot of blame for what's happening, or maybe we're not. Maybe we're not the cause of it. We're still catching a lot of heat because we're in the kind of the vicinity of the nuclear meltdown, right? We're in the blast zone. And we're getting hit with these things. Sometimes it doesn't feel like winning. And sometimes you can walk away from that going, man, I didn't win. I totally sucked at that. I totally wrecked that. Look, guys, this is just part of the challenge. You accepted the challenge. You went up to bat, right? And you didn't knock it out of the park, but you swung. And you got to give yourself some credit for that. Maybe your wife, maybe your kids, they're not going to give you credit for that. Maybe you go talk to a counselor and they say, yeah, you royally screwed that one up. But I'm a big fan of finding ways to win that aren't just, work. And I'm stuck at this. Sorry, a little distraction here. I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. So there's a church. This is Sunday as I'm recording this, even though you guys are listening to it on Thursday. It's kind of like time travel. I'm at a church which has apparently a butt ton of members, and they are all coming out now, even though it's 12:30, so it's about right. So they're all coming out. Traffic is stopped. And I don't know if the traffic cop guy that's leading them out is a member of the church, but he is getting so many waves and hellos and peace signs, and everybody's being super nice to this guy, which is cool. I mean, I don't know if he's a church volunteer or what. Anyhow, I want to give him a little wave there. Thanks, buddy. He totally missed it. All right. Anyhow, back to what I was saying. It is difficult to connect when you feel like a failure. And you don't want to get back into the game if you feel like you screwed up royally every single time you do. And I get that. And so maybe that's the case where you need some counseling. Maybe that's the case where you need to dive in a little bit more and get these things figured out. Because, guys, you don't want to just experience the ups and never experience the downs with people. Actually, let me rephrase that. You want to experience only the ups with people because that's what I want to experience. But it's going to matter a lot to people if you're also willing to get in there and experience their downs a little bit, even though if you don't understand it, doesn't make sense to you. And I'm talking to myself here. It's going to make a big difference in your relationships. And so, guys, move towards people when they need you, when they need to be lifted up, when they need a shoulder to cry on, when they need somebody in their life, when they need a man there, they need a friend, and hopefully you can find ways of doing that. Overcome your own kind of like, I don't want to do this. I mean, sometimes it's like pulling teeth for myself. It's like, geez, I got to get in there and like console somebody. They're crying again. I got to have this conversation again with this employee, or I got to do this thing. I hate that kind of stuff, honestly. But I think in a lot of relationships, I'm pretty good at it. Not so good at it with my wife for whatever reason. We're still working things out. But I'm getting better. And so I'm winning in that case. And I want you guys to win too. All right, guys, go out there and win this week and make those connections. Talk to you later.